for joining us today on Mate TV. If you would like to have more videos from us, kindly like and share. You can also click on the subscription button to keep having our daily posts. Thank you once again for tuning in. Our topic today is centered on pedophiles. Pedophiles. That's what we're talking about today. And to join me in this interactive session is
Amarachi Adekunle.
Thank you once again. This topic is no longer new to us as we are not familiar with the activities of pedophiles in our neighborhood around us and in the world at large. Moses, can you please tell us more about these pedophiles? Or who is a pedophile?
So, a pedophile is a person who is sexually attracted to a child from the age of 13 down. So these are people who feel and who sees children sexually attractive and they feel like they want to, indulge in sex with them. So those are pedophiles. They feel children are the perfect sex mates for them. Those are what pedophile is.
All right.
Yeah.
Pedophiles are people who are they male or female or just both sexes?
Both sexes.
People who are attracted to children. And who are children? People or human beings or individuals from 13 to age 1 or 13 to 0. These are children. So some individuals actually are not really attracted to adults like themselves. They get their attraction, sexual attraction from children.
Yeah.
And this is born out of certain factors. This is born out of certain factors. For me, I don't think that is ordinary.
It's not normal
For an adult to just feel a child who is not mature is what you are now attracted to. So I believe there are some factors that predispose an individual to this.
Sure. There should be.
And someone, I think the first one is someone who has recently been molested.
Yeah.
Grows with this, yes, who is a victim of a pedophile himself or herself, naturally carries out this mind, consciously or unconsciously, grows with it, feels is right, or trying to retaliate, trying to replicate what has been done to him
In the past,
to another person. I think we should talk more on things that predispose what makes a person to become a pedophile.
What you just stated now, it's a valid point. It's the number one point. Being a victim yourself, you can grow with that. Grow with that and become that. Most of them, in short, 80% of them are from that stage. They are victims themselves, they were molested at a very young age, and they grow with that. Another factor is psychological brain wiring. Some of them, they think when they are doing that, they are doing the right thing. They believe they are showing love to the child. They
That's
believe,
a very wrong mindset.
yes, very wrong mindset. Actually, the
Absurd.
way very,
Awkward.
very, very absurd and awkward. It's the way their brain is wired.
Hmm.
They see children very attractive. The way a man will see a woman and say, "Wow, this is my spec." That's when they will look at a child and say, "Wow, this is my spec." They feel it's right. They feel they don't see anything wrong with it. Those are psychological issues. You understand? You
Yeah,
get me?
I agree with you.
Yes.
Actually, it's a disorder. It's a psychological disorder.
Thank you.
Because I don't see a reason why an adult would see a fellow adult and leave that adult and feel the younger one is better off. A child of 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 for 13 years, what have they actually? They've developed nothing. And they are not fully developed. So it's a mental disorder, it's a mental problem. I think they really need some psychiatric attention. Seriously.
Yes,
They need treatment.
They need treatment, and most of the time, it always well, they really do need treatment because of the way their brain is wired.
Do you feel that there is no solution to it as well?
There is.
Okay.
There is, but let's quickly go. Let's continue with what we're saying is because they have more points and more factors why these people indulge in stuff. And another one is control and dominance.
Just want to be
Yes, they want to be in
power,
control,
in charge.
in charge of that child's life.
Mm.
The person, that's why, even an adult, the person you lose your virginity to, you tend
To
to
be tied.
tie
So
down,
tied, yeah.
fully tie down to that
To the
person.
person, yeah.
You understand? That is how it is to children.
Mm.
They can be controlled and manipulated, dominated by such a person.
Yeah.
There are many stories of such that even a father to his 2 years, 3 years old child
That's so bad.
indulging in such, and the child is growing up with such. For years it has been happening and happening, sexually harassing this child, and she got to be one herself. It has happened many times, and it's very, very, very bad. And also there's
Dominance. A man wants somebody you want to dominate.
To suppress.
Somebody you can suppress. So knowing that you cannot suppress an adult for
Yeah.
yourself, that's another act of bullying for me.
Bullying, yeah.
You want somebody who cannot talk back, who cannot answer back at you, who is
Yeah.
just subjected to whatever you do. I know men who will prefer to go for a young girl. I know men who would prefer to go for a young girl just
Yeah.
because you don't want somebody of your age who can challenge you. You just want somebody that when you say A, he takes it as A. When you say
Yeah.
B, he takes it as B. Somebody you can easily give peanuts. Somebody you can easily give 1,000 naira and is excited. Those are the people those kind of
yeah.
men go for. I used to have a neighbor like that, and each time he talks, he says what the kind of girl he wants, 16-year-old, just this one that just leaving the secondary school. And I begin to think, this man, I hope is not a pedophile. And
Yeah,
we
yeah.
need to know that people that we call pedophiles, they are uncles,
Yeah.
they are siblings,
Yeah.
they are
Even
teachers,
teachers in school.
they are neighbors, people you can never suspect.
Suspect at all.
People you can never suspect. They live around, and these are people that are so close to you that you can easily leave your children with.
And then I also think that they just take the advantage of the innocence of the children.
Yes.
Children are so innocent, and so they trust easily, especially if it's an uncle that usually come to their house.
Yeah.
Imagine a home teacher. They feel free, feeling like this person, the parents know the person so well, so they feel these children are naive. They're so innocent.
And free.
They're just free, and So they tend to take advantage.
Easily manipulated.
Yeah, and then they do this by enticing them, even sometimes with money, gifts, you know, one manner of or I'll buy you toy, I'll even promises that they never fulfill.
Yeah.
Then some even go to the extent of giving cash and all that. And then some of these children, and they can also become as victims when they don't have proper sex education. You understand? So they are easily manipulated and enticed into that, and they just feel relaxed. After all, his uncle is
But
not.
you know, it's not all the time that they entice them with goods and money. They're also being threatened.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
also being threatened. They're also being threatened, and sometimes they blackmail the child with that. Blackmail the
Even
child.
when the child tries to speak up.
They threaten the child. You say, if you speak up, if you say this
Don't tell
happens, I will
dad,
kill
don't tell
you.
mom.
You will run mad. You will do all this. You will do that.
It's oppression.
So okay, or I will tell mommy you did. Maybe there was an offense the child committed. You use that to blackmail the child. Okay, if you don't do this, out of fear, the child will concur and subject himself to.
You know, there was this popular TV series we do follow, like that. If I could remember, Super Story. Yes. So there was an episode, the series that came out. The father was sleeping with the young daughter.
That's even the one I'm trying to understand. Father
So-
to children,
And
parents.
and she was growing up with that. And the story was that told the girl was that before you marry, in my tradition, in our village, in our people, before you marry, I have to service you. I have to make sure you're okay for your husband, so that this and this and this will not happen. And make sure you don't tell your mother. Make sure you don't tell this. Make sure you don't tell your friends. Keep it to yourself. It should be our secret. Okay? So with that girl was, and depression came up. It's so bad because all these things are happening within us, and it happens with the close ones, uncles, our teachers, our sports teachers,
Sportsmaster.
even down to the
Even
pastors.
Yes, so-
females also. It's only that it's rampant
With
between
men.
older men to
To
girls,
younger,
but
yeah.
females are also involved.
Yes, and there was when I was doing my research, there's a man called Collins, which was sentenced for 5 years. His least victim was 18 months. That is a typical pedophile. His least victim was 18 months, a year and few months. So you see how bad it is. Now, at that tender age, and a matured man entering, penetrating,
That's
it's
so bad.
you see
But you know that sometimes they don't actually penetrate. What they do is they caress
Some
the
do.
private. I know they do,
Yeah.
but it's not always. They don't always penetrate. Sometimes they caress the private parts
Yeah.
and all that. That is also abuse.
Yeah, it's
Sexual
part of
abuse.
it.
Yes, it's
Anything
part.
that could make you assess the genitalia, it's an abuse.
so it's very bad. So I want to ask this: do you feel these people, when they are caught, are they likely to reoffend again?
Sure, they will, but I was about saying something before, as one of the factors before
Okay.
we go into this. Before we go into this, nowadays you discover a lot of women don't care about the way their children are dressed. Children at early age are exposed to indecent dressing.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mhm.
Yeah,
you
it makes
know,
sense to
men are moved by what they see. Children develop so fast these days. A child you've been seeing, he grew with you 1 year, 2 year, all of a sudden the features in the body are started developing. Then this is a child who wears just pants around. That can expose such a child to any pedophile around.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because you wear tight fitting clothes, or you see a lot of children these days, they are being dressed to party, where they put on
Bob
bob
shorts.
shorts
Yeah.
and
Exposing body
Singlet.
parts.
spaghetti
Mm.
tops, sleeveless tops. They are being predisposed to pedophile. So I feel that, let's parents or women should dress their children decently,
Yeah.
cover them up, because these pedophiles are everywhere. They are
Everywhere.
predators.
Everywhere.
You can never tell.
You
Even
can-
a sibling can be a pedophile.
Yeah.
So to protect them, no matter their age, try to get them covered up.
That's it.
Try to get them covered up. From my childhood and up to now, I because of the way I'm trained, I can't dress without underwears, because that's the way we are trained. But most people these days, they
They
just
don't
leave
care.
the child, the only pants and all that. There should be protective clothing
Yeah.
for the children. So I think nudity is one of the factors that predispose.
Yeah.
We'll be talking about what makes pedophiles, what
Yeah.
makes them pedophiles, what makes them to attack their victims. All right.
Yeah.
Then nudity is one major thing that we should not skip, and parents should learn how to cover up their children to protect them away from these predators called pedophiles, because they are on the increase every day. They are on the increase every day. Now look at this issue of the Baba Ijesa.
Yeah.
Baba Ijesa has now been sentenced to 16 years imprisonment.
Serious.
I think what happened must have been that there is a kind of attraction. I am not there, but looking at the whole issue, there is a kind of attraction.
Yeah.
There is a kind of attraction. I don't know the girl. I don't know the child. But there must have been a kind of. They are in the same house together, so he must have been exposed to looking at feminine features and all that before
Before.
getting into
The
such acts. Yes, back to your question.
Then
Okay.
I also feel these younger ones should also be properly educated, like sexual education. It will really help, so that they will know when to speak up, when to report when
We're still
someone
coming to that.
is trying to take advantage of them.
Okay, I think we're still coming to that.
Yeah.
Let's attend. Let's listen to the question.
So what
we
I
was trying
said
to
earlier
ask
was
earlier.
that, do you think these offenders, these pedophiles, when caught, do you think they will reoffend again after going for a long sentence now? Like Baba Ijeshana, I think after spending 16 years in jail, do you think he will redo it?
Yeah, I think he will,
Why?
because it's more like a mental disorder. So it's like a way of life. It's like something that he derives pleasure in. He enjoys it, and so if he comes out and is now still in the outside world, where in the outside environment where he can also see these younger ones,
Yeah.
he will still feel attracted to them.
Yes.
He may do it again, depending on why he did it.
Before.
If what happened was that if he was exposed to a nude woman or a nude teenager, it's likely that if he finds himself in that
Yes.
situation again, he will do it. And if it's a psychological problem that has not been taken care of,
Yeah.
it's likely that if he finds himself in that scenario again, he will repeat it again.
Mm.
So punishing an offender may only be able to keep him away
That's true.
For the time being.
for the time
For a
being.
period of time.
Yes.
Punishing him if
that's-
he's not properly rehabilitated. If he's not properly rehabilitated, we have armed robbers who go to jail and still come back. They run.
They rob. They still rob.
They are still the same people coming back to jail.
Yes.
So that period, only very few of them get to have a change of mind, and some of them get to be rehabilitated. Maybe some of them they are being preached to in the prison, and they have a rethink a new way of life, and their life changes. Except that some of those who are remanded in prison are still the one who will come back. They will still go back and commit that crime, because that thing that is predisposing them to that crime has not been taken care of. So it's better after serving their jail term, it's better they are isolated.
Yeah.
They're isolated, given a psychologist
Yeah.
to work on them before releasing them into the society. Otherwise, they will become, they will become, let me say, they will become an upgraded version
Version of what they were.
of what they did
Yes.
before. Yes, they become an
Well,
upgraded version.
I feel what you guys have said is true, because when I was going through the mandate, you know, had sex with these children, which the least victim was 18 months. After serving his 5-year term in jail, when they were about releasing him, he told the policemen that he's going to do it again. He told them plain that he was going to do it again, that they should find a solution, that castration should be the next solution for him. Chemical castration, trying to cut off his urges. And the policemen were like, the lawyers, the attorneys, they were like, no, you can't do that. You are still a young man. He would think about it. And he said, that is it. That if he should go out there, he's going to do it again. And they brought up a psychologist, and the psychologist said he's going to do it again because his brain has been wired to do that. He doesn't see a pretty lady sexy or sexually attractive. What he sees is the children. That's how bad it is. Most of them, their brain are wired for that. So I feel if they should release them without, even the chemical castration doesn't work. Trying to cut out urges in a man's body, it doesn't work. I don't think it works.
It might
At
help.
all.
It might help also. It might reduce the
What will you-
feelings.
No, it doesn't. Have you, an 80 years old man still has urges for women?
It's just like an impotent man.
It doesn't work that way. Chemical castration won't make you impotent. They just cut off the urges, and the urges are here. Are wired here, not down at. So you understand? So I feel these offenders will offend again when they are released. So now I want to quickly drop this. What are the solutions? How do you think we can curb this in our society?
Are you saying how to prevent pedophiles, or how to protect our children?
Protect our children.
So what I'm trying to say is
How
there
can
no
we-
preventive
There's
measures that can be?
There's no permanent preventive measures.
that's serious.
If there's any,
These people are
are
criminals.
everywhere.
Permanently, this is what they do. Only few of them get to change. The only solution now is to
protect
protect
our younger ones.
the children. So how do we protect them? How do we protect them? We have to be able to shoot them. Children have to be able to protect themselves also.
Yeah.
So how do we go about this?
Well, I feel the one of the ways to protect these children is to properly educate them sexually, as in give them sexual education, sex education from the parents. Then in school also, they are supposed to be taught by their teachers. You know, be sensitive whenever an adult is coming close to your private parts. Know that that person means harm. You understand? There's a way you educate them and make them to know that when you want to see this signal, wants to see, or maybe you're walking along a lonely path and you saw someone, calling you from the bush, don't go. There are a lot of ways we can make them get to know that these things happen, and then once they have that mindset, Yeah, you can shout, you can scream, you can even run away. Run. Go to report to the nearest adult you can meet, whether your parents or just have a way of.
We cannot just educate the children without first creating awareness to the parents. Parents need to learn. Some parents are not aware. They feel that, okay, this is my brother, I can just leave my children with them. The children parents need to know measures. They need to be aware that there's something called pedophiles, and they need to know how they are expressed, who they are, and how to protect their children, how to help their children to understand.
Okay.
Yes, you cannot just tell your child, don't allow this person to have sex with you. The child doesn't understand that. So the parents have to be trained to use the language of their children, to teach them to understand, and how to properly guard their children.
That's true. Because I feel that parent programming is the best. Teaching them on how to teach their children. Because it has happened to my cousin. She came back from school one day and the mother was beating her. And as you know, when that time beating your child, that's when you hear everything that happens in school. That's when it's just as if you press the remote button and she will press play of everything. She will give account of everything that happens when they are beating. So as she was beating her, the child was just talking and talking and talking, and all of a sudden, the child said his uncle was touching her private. Immediately the mom sparked, went to the teacher's house. First they took the child to the hospital for checking, and went to the teacher's house, and he had to receive some beating first for doing such. Because those if you don't teach your children that, how to
they need to speak out.
And again, communication and how close you are to your child, relationship matters. If you're the kind of a parent that you don't allow you don't flow with your child, any little thing you beat them, you don't let them feel you don't have that parent love for them or care for them, let them feel safe in you. They won't speak to you. They feel they will speak to somebody else. You understand? So that parenting love, communication with the child matters a lot. And it goes a long way. Teaching them that if any person to touch your private, you scream. If there's anything with you, you choke the person. Because when I watched an interview with an ex-pedophile, and he showed a scar at his neck. He said he got this scar from one of the child he was trying to harass. He was trying to harass the child, and the girl just picked a pencil and stabbed him. That's how he got that scar. So teaching them to defend themselves and making them outspoken is very critical. It's something they should do.
And then I feel like in the home, in the house, there should also be proper monitoring, of the activities that go on. When the parents should have a way of, putting in an eye on the relationship that is existing between their children, and especially their elder ones, and then some uncles and aunties that comes around. Because some of these pedophiles, like we earlier said, some of them are even in the family. Some of them are aunts, uncles. You understand? And in family members. Even especially this issue of father, daughter. I sometimes I wonder whether that is demonic. So imagine how would a woman feel the daughter she left at home is being molested by the husband. Same husband of hers. It's a serious problem. The biological father. So it's a serious problem. So there should be let's not assume that all is well at all times. I feel there should be a monitoring at some at some point, from time to time, try to find out who your children relate with, the kind of relationship that exists. Sometimes you can even badge into maybe where they are, maybe discussing or something. You can just sometimes just walk into the place. If they're in the room, you can sometimes secretly tiptoe, not for anything, just to make sure things are
In check.
in check. Yeah.
Monitoring at home, at
Mm.
school,
At school.
sports.
Mm.
Because most of all these sports masters,
Ma-
they do the thing. They do
Seriously.
one of them is a swim master.
Hmm.
He teach children how to swim, and in that way, he touches them until one of them reported.
Hmm.
So teachers, sports masters, even in church,
Yes, sir.
most of all these father, uncle, and brother, this
Bless you, bless you.
bless you, bless you. It's everywhere.
Ah.
So monitoring should be general.
Yeah,
At home,
everywhere.
school, everywhere.
Counselors
Since there's
in
a child
school.
there, in a school there should be counseling.
Yeah.
There should be
Guidance
there's
and
a
counsel.
unit whereby
Unit.
children can report
Mm.
if there's any of such.
Yeah.
Even in church,
There should be.
There should be.
Everywhere.
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 As far as a child, there are children there.
Children.
There should be units whereby these children can report any sexual harassment and counseling as well. So that accountability and monitoring does it all.
Children, like you rightly said, should be taught how to speak out.
Mm.
Because most time they are attackers, they are the pedophile, will tend to threaten them.
Yes.
Threaten them. They may say, if you say anything, I will kill you, you will die, you all that. So their parents have to learn how to instill boldness
Goodness, yeah.
in the heart of a child, to be able to reject what you feel is not,
It's not
right.
right.
To be able to speak out if anybody is trying to attack you, touching you carnally, or touching you in a way that you feel is not right. You
Inappropriate.
don't feel comfortable. You don't feel comfortable. Speak out, run, or tell
Scream.
someone. But now, if we say the way you don't feel comfortable, some children have already started feeling comfortable with
I
that.
think.
So that's where the place of
That's the
education
problem, yeah,
comes
comes
in. Yes, the child has to know that if anybody should touch me beyond this level, if anybody should do this or that, I should know that yes, this is wrong. This is wrong. It can destroy me. It can destroy my future. I can even die if I allow the person to do that. So
That's
I
it.
won't even allow him to touch me at all. You also mentioned proper monitoring.
Yeah.
Proper monitoring. Yes. You take periodic check. Don't
Check,
just
yeah.
take things for granted.
Yeah.
Especially as a mother, you go once in a while. You're leaving your child. Then watch who you leave your child with. Even females.
Yes.
Even female can molest a female girl. They can
Yes,
molest
yes,
a female
of
girl.
course, yes.
It happens. So know who you leave your children with.
Then,
Just take an unannounced
Unannounced
visit
Yeah.
to check what they are doing there. Then as a woman, don't be over cumbered with work that you forget that these children, they're your future. You are responsible for molding their life. You have to see the way they live their lives, especially at that early age. You are responsible for their psychological
Upbringing.
upbringing and development. You're responsible for all that. You're responsible for building character in them. You should not leave them alone.
then I feel parents should also teach their children contentment for those that are being enticed by material things.
Yes.
You know, some of these pedophiles, they tend to offer gifts. You understand? They, offer money or even buy gifts, say enticing things that will drag the children, even when they know that what they want to indulge in is wrong, and they will go in for it. So I feel parents should also try to make adequate provision for their children, and also teach them to be satisfied, to be contented with what they have, and also check when to find out if they actually come home with, things that they didn't provide for them, that they didn't buy for them. That can also be a way of finding out. Okay, let's say for instance, a pedophile offered them a gift, maybe a biscuit, or a toy to take advantage of a little girl. If she takes such home, the mother should be able to, find out, should be able to, from time to time,
That's
search.
proper monitoring.
Yeah, it's part of monitoring, and then teach the children contentment, teach them to be satisfied. Don't collect anything from anybody. And so many children these days, they even come to you to ask, and then some of these pedophiles can take advantage of it. Oh, before I'll give you this, come and take. And they will lure the child into a hidden place and take advantage of the child. So, contentment.
Parents should also ensure that they provide decent dressing
Yeah.
for their children, no matter their age. No matter their age, let everything be covered.
Yeah.
And as a mother, show example of decent dressing. Wear appropriate clothes.
Yes,
Yeah.
Cover your
very
cleavages.
important.
Wear things that are below your knees. And when you dress for them also, don't say because they are children, then you wear only bomb shorts and allow them to move around the house. When you are sleeping, you don't know what can happen when you are sleeping. So ensure, at least, even though some pedophiles cannot be deterred, even if someone is covered from head to toe, they will still do what they do. You still be able to help them
Yes,
to some
it goes a
extent
long
if
way.
you cover the child, and not covering the child not meaning you cover the
No,
child.
it's
I am saying that you
Yeah.
wear proper
The cleavages,
clothing.
all
Yes,
It goes a long
wear
way because
proper clothing. Let them be well dressed. Cover the
Primary parts
primary
properly.
parts. Yeah, and don't wear too clothes. Too fitted
tight
clothes that are too
fitted clothes.
fitted. Sometimes you see a 11-year-old looking at a 15-year-old because of the features she has
Symmetry.
developed. So you now say because that kind of child now is maybe it's just a child, still a teenager, nobody sees. You could be making a dangerous mistake that you need to regret for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
So my advice to parents is they should ensure, by all means, even when in the house, even their night dresses, ensure that it is covered. Especially when you have your children, male and female, use the same room. Try to ensure that the females are covered. The same thing goes for the
That's
boys.
very, very
Yes,
important.
teach them how to cover themselves. I have a nephew who is about 3 years old. Sometimes he wants to go with me to my office. My office is just close to the house. He knows that when going with me, you don't unbutton your shirt, even though you have the singlet on. He knows that you have to. I won't allow you. It's my policy. You don't move around like other children in the environment. You don't just start roaming about like a child, because that's the way it begins. Let them. If he's putting on a shirt, let him button up. Let him know. You are sending a message.
Yeah.
It may look ignorable, but you are doing something very important. Asking that child, is a boy.
Yeah.
It's a boy. I'm talking about the boy, 3-year-old. Make him button up, and he knows that you don't unbutton your shirt. Even when you come to my house, you don't unbutton your shirt. You don't unbutton your shirt. I don't allow you to come to my house without your pants. What are you doing here? Go back. You know you have to put on your pants. Yeah, we say there are pedophiles everywhere. Now my major concern now is when a father
That is serious.
is now the predator. Recently, there is a story that I'm trying not to say precisely where it happened now, but it's something I'm aware of, and I know the man has lost his wife, leaving behind
Children.
yes.
Children.
So one day,
Serious.
a teacher was going to the loo and found a girl of about 4 years in the bathroom with 4 other young boys. 4 other young boys in the bathroom. They were so carried away in the act. This small girl was performing oral sex in the bathroom. They were so carried away, a girl of 4, with some other classmates of the same age, about 3, 4, and 5. 4 of them were there. They were so carried away that they don't know that the teacher was watching. Was watching, eventually caught them. When she caught them, they were not afraid, they were not scared. They were not scared at all. So when interrogated, they called the other sister who happened to attend the same school. When interrogated, she said their father, whenever their father wants to bathe them in the morning, he asks them to perform oral sex or play.
Oh, wow. This is a serious matter.
So in this kind of situation, I tried to throw this question to a platform. Nobody was able to give me answer. In this kind of situation, how do you protect a child who is being molested by his own father?
The protector being the
Do you what do you do to the child? Do you go give the child to another person to adopt? What do you do?
Yes. If it was in the Western world, father will be arrested and the child will be taken away from him.
Seriously?
Straight and be taken to a foster home.
Yeah.
That was what's going to happen. Because that man is just a man, he's not a father.
Yes, sir. I think
He's
that's
a monster, destroying the lives of those young girls.
These stories keep coming to our hearing. We hear a father is doing this, we hear a father is doing this. Then thereafter, we don't hear any other action that is
to the father.
Taking on the father.
I feel what he suggests and what he said is, I feel that's the best solution to the problem. Once it's discovered that there's this child that is being molested by the father, the best thing to save the life and destiny of that child is to separate the father from the child.
Do you know this particular man, when he was approached, he debunked it and changed the children's school immediately and continue with this dastardly act. Of course, it will continue.
All that extended family members should have a way of interfering.
Are they aware? Are they aware?
That's it anyway.
As if they are aware, but if they are not, it should just continue going.
And do you know that except someone catches them, even if the child speaks out, they may not even believe the child.
Yes.
And even adults who are aware that what the child is saying is right, they won't do anything in order not to to offend the man. In order not to offend the man.
That's a serious issue.
But the solution here is just to
separate
them. If being caught,
this thing is more rampant than the way we are feeling it. It's happening right under our very nose. I read a story 5 years ago. I read a story about a lady who was being molested by the father. And you see, the problem is not just the molestation now. The problem is not just the molestation, the immediate act. The problem is the aftermath, the long-term effect on the child. So this child has a well-to-do father and happens to be the only child. I learned the story is based on a life experience and happens to be the only child. The mother is a career person also who is always not around. They give everything to this child. But the man is using the advantage of the unavailability of the wife to molest the woman. He has been doing that from the very time that the child was still unconscious. Still, the child is now an adult that has gained admission into the university. When she got into the university, the impact started coming. The consequence of that molestation at home started coming. She could not have any relationship. She was always depressed. She could not relate with anyone. She could not just have any relationship with any male at all. She was admitted into a medical school. Sometimes she just withdraws to herself. The father is here at home. Each time she goes home, she doesn't like to go home. Each time she go home, this man continues this dastardly act with the daughter. And the mother is not even observant enough to know that this child is passing through something. It continued like that, and there was one young man who is interested in her. All effort to get her attention proved abortive. So the man started. He hates to see any man at all. He has developed this hatred
For
for
men
anything.
because
He
of
doesn't
the
want to have a
molestation.
relationship. Somehow the man, who is also a medical student, a colleague of ours, was able to gain access to her. And but each time the girl keeps screaming, she has started having this psychological
Yeah.
problem, and she discovered that right now they may be playing. The mood swing just comes, and she begins to hate him and send him away. So knowing that psychologically something is wrong, he decided to delve deep into her issue. I started asking her questions and all that. It took a long time for her to open up. Eventually got to know that the father has been molesting her. And this man is a pastor,
Oh.
a cleric. So nobody is left out. Everybody
suspect.
is a suspect until
Seriously.
otherwise
Proven.
proven. That's why parents have to be observant.
Yes.
She owned up to the friend who started giving her therapies, all that. There was a time the father came. In fact, she wanted to kill herself. Yes, she wanted to commit suicide. Okay. Why the guy discovered was that there was a time the father came and she did not want to see the child. She did not want to see him. She knocked and knocked and knocked. The friend came and met the father there. She refused to answer. She refused to answer.
Fear.
Yes, refused to answer until eventually the friend got to know what happened and all of that. When her mom came, she even wanted to kill the mom. She felt it's her mom that is being inconsiderate, or being her mom is being insensitive
Yeah.
to allow her dad to do such to her. So the aftermath of the act is usually the most painful aspect.
Of course,
Yes, the
Yeah.
act itself is usually not the situation, but the psychological effects. Yes.
And
So,
emotional effects.
Yes,
too.
the psychological and emotional effects. So parents have to be very observant. And as neighbors too, we should be brothers and sisters. If you are seeing unnecessary movement around a child, or you feel something is happening, why not report to the police, or let the parents
No.
know, or let the appropriate authorities know. At least if we can't stop them, at least we'll be able to protect
Protect the children.
one's soul. We'll be able to protect one's soul. That's all we are having today. Thank you for tuning in. Like and share. Also share with your loved ones. Also, we would like to have your comments. In case you may have a suggestion, kindly drop it in the comment box. Thank you. See you again next time.